I've talked about a lot of topics regarding the Chris Watts case, and one of the things I've talked about a decent amount that I want to talk about again today is just how interested people are in Chris Watts and the case in general. Even 2 years later, that's something I say a lot too. Even 2 years later, obviously it's 2020 now, 2018 when it happened, so that's what I mean. And I'm part of that group who still finds Chris Watts really interesting. And obviously everyone has their own unique set of reasons why they think Chris Watts in the case is so interesting. It could be unanswered questions. It could just be about how disturbing the murders were, or the sexual element, or maybe you just think Chris Watts is attractive, so you watch a lot of videos about him. Whatever. Everyone has their own reasons, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about my reasons why I'm still interested in Chris Watts in 2020. And at the end of the day, it is a combination of a lot of things, but I do want to touch on the main reason why I'm interested in Chris Watts now. But first, I want to talk about why I was interested in the Chris Watts case when it first happened, and then for the months following that. Obviously, I think this is the same reason a lot of people were initially, right off the bat interested with Chris Watts. And, it's just the heinousness of the murders and how disturbing, just the thought is that you could, or that someone would kill their own wife who's pregnant and their two young daughters. I think that was a big reason. Just, the pure shock factor of learning or, realizing that this could happen, to anyone. And that's a big reason, I think, why people are interested in it. And obviously, when a case does reach national news, there's a reason. And I think that's the reason why Chris Watts was on the news. And I think a lot of people already know that and you would just assume that, but I thought I'd say it in the video. But now, if you jump forward in time to 2020, I've kind of become desensitized to the details of the murder. That's not really what I care about anymore. Obviously it's still disgusting and disturbing and horrendous, but, that's not really what keeps me coming back to Chris Watts videos and Chris Watts documentaries. It's not really about the murders themselves anymore. Well, obviously everything's tied back into the murders, but it's not about the murders themselves. I'm really interested in Chris Watts for the same reason I think a lot of people are, and it's unanswered questions. A lot of people want to know exactly what happened, and one of the big things that I think people have, unanswered question that people have, is what happened exactly between Shanann getting home and Chris leaving for work. That 3.5, 4.5 hour period that, they're all in the house, and, obviously Chris is the only one alive to tell you what happened, and he has answered that question a couple times, but again, it is Chris Watts, and it's like, this is the guy who just killed his wife and two daughters, so I don't know if I believe you. So obviously people are still, interested in finding out. They want to know what happened exactly, the truth behind that, but that's not why I'm interested in Chris Watts. I'm more interested in what he was doing before the murders and what he did after the murders. And I'm interested in his thought process behind all of it. I'm really just fascinated with the fact that this, 30-year-old man, he's 36 now, so he was like 34 when it happened. That doesn't really matter that he's 36 now. But, it really blows my mind that this 30-year-old man, an adult, whose, brain is fully developed, somehow got the idea in his head that he could, do this and get away with it, potentially. Like at what point did you think that maybe Chris stole a candy bar when he was like 6 years old from Walmart or something, but Chris really wasn't committing any crimes ever. So at what point did you think, Chris, that you could get away with this? And, then I'll talk about some of the other stuff you did later, but like, really, it blows my mind that he thought that this would somehow work out for him. Because, obviously at some point in time, he did think he was going to get away with it potentially. He calls his daughter's school, says they're not going to be enrolled anymore. He contacts the realtor, the same day that he just murdered his wife. Like, I don't know how you thought that you were going to do that and have that not sound suspicious. But, whatever, Chris. I'm not going to get too upset over not being able to figure that out because, I don't think he ever can. Because, again, it's Chris telling you, and he's the only one who can. So, you know how that goes. But, again, I just can't fathom the fact that he thought he was going to do these things and get away with it. And, the porch interview, obviously, I don't know. I have no idea why he did that. I don't know how he thought that was going to be a good idea or how that would possibly make him look good, Obviously, he's smiling during the whole thing. He's rocking back and forth. You can tell that he's really nervous. And, he just keeps saying like and stuff and like, I want them back. And, he's rocking back and forth. He's smiling. He's got that huge grin on his face. He's like, wow, man, I'm finally free for my wife and kids. Please let this interview in so I can go back to Nicole real quick and say, did you not notice that you were smiling? Did his face just like start smiling on its own? It's like, I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. And obviously I think his train of thought was he needed to look like the concerned father, that kind of thing. He probably thought that it would look suspicious if he didn't interview, but if your wife and kids are missing and you don't know where they are and some camera crew comes up to you and starts pestering you for an interview, I feel like it would be a pretty understandable answer to just say, my wife and kids are missing. I don't want to do this right now. I'm going through a hard time. And it would probably be like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I hope you find your wife and kids. She was pregnant, so I'm sure it was going to be on the news either way at some point to some degree, even if you didn't do the interview. So it's like, I don't know why you thought that would be a good idea. And then, there's, of course, the polygraph test that, you never have to take one. But, Chris Watts, for some reason, thinks he can beat a polygraph test. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't know he didn't have to take it. Or, he didn't know that it couldn't be used as evidence against him in a potential trial. I don't know. And, again, it just blows my mind. I can't fathom the fact that this 30-year-old man, this grown man, this adult, and I mean, Chris isn't the smartest guy in the world, but, I don't think it takes that smart of a person to realize that his plan sucked, if it was planned, He drove his daughters and his wife, who was dead already, to that oil field in his work truck that has a GPS. So it's like, Chris, what were you thinking? Like, did you not plan this at all? Did you not have any time to maybe think between you murdering Shanann and leaving? Maybe like, what would be a good idea? What's the best way I can get away with this? What are going to give me the best chance to get away with this? Did you not think about that? I don't know. I wish I could ask him these things, but I don't think he's going to respond to my letter at this point. It has been a while. So I don't think he's going to get back to me with those questions that I wrote in a letter to him. But again, I would still love to know what was going through his mind. He's got the driveway cam, the GPS. And he's like, yeah, no one will know where I'm going, man. It'll be okay. No one's ever going to find these bodies. So, I don't know. I just can't understand. And, it gives me a headache really trying to think about it. I really try to put myself in his shoes, too. And think, man, what would I do if I was going to murder my wife and kids? Which, I don't have in real life, but let's pretend I do. It's like, I don't think that's how I would have done it, man. She's got that doctor appointment, and it's like, who Nicole Atkinson is. She's going to notice that Shanann's missing. Like, you've met her before, and you know what kind of person she is and how close she is with Shanann. So I don't know how he didn't see or think about that. I don't know how that slipped his mind. Obviously they know each other because she was one of Shanann's best friends. So like, at what point, why didn't you just say like, "Hey, Nicole, I'm giving Shanann a ride to her doctor's appointment this morning. You don't need to come by. You can come by later. She'll give you a call." So maybe she doesn't show up to the house at like 10 a.m., like 5 hours after the murder to report it to the police. Maybe you can buy yourself a little more time to, come up with some way that's going to reduce the chances to any degree that you get caught, to make things even the slightest bit better for you. But of course, Chris didn't do any of that. He kind of just did it and hoped he would get away with it, I think, pretty much at the end of the day. And I will say this. I know we've talked about Chris Watts a ton, and I've called him an idiot, and I've seen a bunch of other people call him an idiot. But I mean, he's not that stupid. I mean, he can get himself dressed in the morning. He had a job. It's like he's not that dumb. But then you see all of these things that he's doing, right after the murder, and it's really confusing. Like how you get that idea in your mind. How do you come to that point when you have a fully developed brain? You're a fully developed human brain, and you think that this is a good idea somehow. You've somehow convinced yourself that this could work out for you. So that's why I'm interested in Chris Watts to this day. And I know I'm never going to get those answers, so I'll probably be interested in Chris Watts for a long period of time. Maybe if mind reading becomes available, it'll let me free from the Chris Watts case. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Chris had a better chance of getting away with the murders than that. So, again, that's why I'm fascinated with Chris Watts. Just blows my mind. I think I've repeated myself a ton in this video, but yeah, that's why I'm interested in Chris Watts.